My videos are basically about the natural African light from God through Horus, son of Ra, the martial arts, Ebo, backwards is Obi, meaning king, heart, hut, temple, the core, the essence of humanity, of martial arts, of life, versus the sort of technology-assisted, artificial Luciferian light, mostly coming from the Eurasia, okay, and the globalists, and so on and so forth. Okay, it's very simple. And they want to label me a black identity extremist because I insist on the truth and to define martial arts with truth and not with misdirection. And martial arts are basically lifestyles, not some kind of game or mimic, some kind of anime, circus, fool's game, right? Focus versus circus, one of my main arguments over the years. Okay, so let's look at this thing, shall we? Remember, universal morality, martial, to arrange, order, mountain range, A range, alpha range, martial and marital. So now let's really think about this in terms of obvious truth in the Bible when it comes to facts, logic, morality. Proverbs 31:10, even back then they said, quote unquote, a wife of noble character, who can find? She is worth far more than rubies, end quote. Who can find her? Why can't they find her? Because there's not a valid point of reference, right? There's confusion going on. No one understands what it means to be a man. No one understands what it means to be a woman. There's a valid point of reference in me trying to express itself, right? But there's no valid point of reference for all to see in society. Okay, it's the same thing with a female. What makes her of noble character? Well, she must obey the King of Kings, the Pharaoh. That's what it means to be a noble. Okay, and there's a reason for this. What we see is European nobility, quote unquote, superimposed on the idea of the martial arts structure. Okay, we see it in Robin Hood and the Princess Bride, and so on and so forth. Okay, so Proverbs 31:10 again, a wife of noble character who can find? She is worth far more than rubies, far more than the trade route money lenders, the corporate guys, every culture that is allowed to exist, assigning her a price tag, assigning her a cultural price tag, if you will. So we couple Proverbs 31:10, again, a wife of noble character who can find? She is worth far more than rubies, with Matthew 5:15. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. It conveys the true light of God. This is martial arts, right? Spirit versus the spear of destiny, manifest destiny. The ships manifest who was really the king of the Ebos and who were just the people that were brought here. That's why they have Martin Luther King, right? Martin Luther King. It's the white man's way. That's why it's Michael J. White, right? As this black person who's put front and center in Hollywood, right? Michael Jordan, MJ, White. Okay? The Michael Jordan of basketball. Quote unquote, the Michael Jordan in terms of talent, the most talented by far of martial arts, me. And then there's Michael J. White of Hollywood, action movies, the Greco-Roman play, confusion. Remember, Set is a deity of confusion, chaos, evil, storms, the color red symbolizing the principles of evil, and sexual immorality. Okay, so that goes back to, of course, seal, right? Lay, ease, see, all, pan means all, pan backwards is nap, pacify, pass means all, and pass, sap, puss, and so on and so forth are connected, right? How do you pacify? You mislead them, right? It's a mistake, right? And that's what led to it being sealed, okay? Because after I'm gone, there's no valid redeemer. Apollo, who's said to represent a redeemer, is a scientist's invention. He's not a valid redeemer, okay? And he's also ironically said to represent the ideal, quote unquote, athletic youth that is beardless. Okay. All right, so, and you see a lot of people shave their beards in popular culture, and there's a lot of things you can get from there. Okay, so we look at this thing. If a bunch of pirates on a ship said to someone such as myself, and there really is no one like me, but anyway, that they want to run a train on a virgin little girl, and they said, hey, everyone on this ship just happens to be wrong except for you. How is it everyone else's fault but yours? Okay, the most righteous man's opinion is superior to the rule of the mob. In fact, this mob rule, democracy, demos, people, peasant, can also be interpreted more accurately as a mob of people, an unruly crowd. Okay, demos. That's where we get the word demon. Or you can also get the word demean and demi, the first-class citizens of Athens and Attica, okay? Especially craftsmen. That's where we get the word demos, D-E-I-M-O-S, a deity of terror. Should deities of terrors and mobs of people, of ruffian pirates, and the offspring of colonialists and token minorities be the ones who deem who is worthy? Or should it be the virtuous man who's the light, right? We can't let the mob rule. The mob of people tell you who should be placed on a stand for all to see. And that's what democracy is, one way or another. They're working with the corporations, letting them bribe them and blackmail them and coerce them to then stand behind corporate puppets, pets, demons, really. Demons as the idea of a peasant that demeans you in rebellion against the martial arts structure, which is who truly defines the nobility in terms of moral courage, moral discipline, moral judgment, moral precision, moral toughness, moral will, moral intelligence, moral maturity. Okay, potent, pure, focused moral intensity. So when we look at the opposite here, we have pirates. They're concerned with the pirates. They're concerned with the money, right? Crony capitalism. It's not a system based on morality. Okay, it's not merit in terms of morality. It's in terms of networking, who you know, who you blow, in terms of crony capitalist networking. Okay, net worth, right? To catch somebody. So again, it also has to do with animus in terms of spirit, the spirit of animals and a pecking order. Animal itself is a play on words for Annie or Anna, the earth mother, right, in Igbo culture, and mal or male, and male backwards can be said with phonetics applied, lame. So Anna, lame. It is lame. It's like a monkey that can't move very well and he's slow and he's uncoordinated, right? Versus someone with a superior brain structure who is the top martial artist, such as myself, who they have to label an animal, ironically, Saturn, role reversal, Saturnalia, Christmas, to confuse you about who is actually superior. Mind, body, soul, and spirit. The true spirit of God, as the falcon is flying high, close to the sun, symbolically, okay? He's above the other animal spirits, but he's the one saying we need to leave here and reconnect to God, religion, from religare, I believe, ligare, to join, okay? Reconnect. Okay, reconnect to what? God or the animal earth-humping nonsense and chaos? Anarchy has the word ana. Anarch, E for evil, E-vi-L, emasculate, effeminate. E in Sumerian means temple, which is a magic card temple void of the true spirit of God, but rather has the key, like Enki, An meaning Lord. Enki, a deity of mischief, fertility, semen, magics, crafts. We also get CIA. Interchangeable vowels, vowel to L, we get C-I-E, which scrambled is ice. I-C-E. I-Ki, again, Ki is Ki, G, which is Gaia, Gaia. It's the gender-neutral earth energy when you put it in the Sumerian and Greco-Roman system. So Set, again, is a deity of confusion, right? Like a riot, invasion, a pirate invasion, right? There's rapes and murders and all this horrible stuff going on, and people are like, me, me, me. And when the smoke clears, you have an order out of chaos. Novos ordo seclorum, and a secular order that's absent of the true spirit of God. They're not obeying a religious leader, a true monarch, a martial art monarch, but rather a magic card peasant demos people, right? D-E-I-M-O-S, terrorizing people, coercing people, blackmailing people, the old you better not, the old blacklist, blackball people, people get homeless, right? They don't do it the devil's way. Satan is a deity of confusion, of illusion, right? Confuse, to come together. Come together for what? Sexual intercourse. The flesh becomes one, right? But it should be led by the top martial artist. The only valid one, the last valid one is me. The only valid one is me. Okay. He is the mind and the spirit marshaling you together. Okay. And when you don't do it that way, by default, you're going to hell. You're not right with God. It's a simple matter of logic as well. You should pay the worker his wages. What is this? James 1, I believe. We'll go down to 4. Behold the hire of the laborers who reap down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth. And the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of the Sabbath. You do not pay the worker his wages. The wages of being the top martial artist in reality is the right to lead in the name of God, okay, in the name of righteousness. He's a light, a point of reference. Matthew 5:15 again. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. So to convey the message, what happens when you don't convey the message? The few very noteworthy women that may or may not exist at this point, okay, are hard to find. And the other women cannot kind of repent and work their way up with the true light of God to be noble. Okay, they end up being some weird Cinderella Snow White slut. Sleeping Beauty, she's a slut. She's a confused, unfocused faced harlot. She's like a childish, that's why it's a children's story. She has a child-friendly clown cake face. Pale moon, sin, the moon deity, devil face, prince of darkness, the moon, the gender-neutral prince of darkness. Okay. That's why game is a play on words for quote-unquote gay, quote-unquote me. Obviously, I'm not gay. Okay. Even though they try to make me look gay like Apollo or something, I'm not Apollo. I despise Apollo. I'm appalled by Apollo. Okay, and the only way to truly apologize is to and to try to really is to give me my rightful place and to obey. Obi backwards is Ebo. Obi, a play on words for obey, and they want to twist it and make it seem like buy, right? Like you can buy this person, have him sell his soul, have him grovel. Okay, and an O/buy, right? B-I, bisexual. Okay, same with Biafra. Okay? B of Ra versus buy your fee, I believe. Okay. And it's your fee obi. Okay. So one way or another, it's referring to sell your soul to the gender neutral kind of gunny is another word for key. Is connected to key. And that goes back to the gun. This is little kids, little girls can use guns to shoot down great warriors, right? Anytime you switch things to where people who are betas, beta beast is beta scrambled, it's also be east, right? And Babylon was in the east. Where did the Jews come from? Babylon, Ur, Chaldea, okay, Abraham. Jesus said, before Abraham I am. He said the spirit of righteousness existed before Abraham. So where was it? It was in the African martial arts system. That's why in Genesis 41 through 45, okay, Pharaoh, symbolically, not as a valid pharaoh, mind you, symbolically gives Joseph rule over the people. The true story is that the pharaoh of Narmer is representing the idea of Horus, son of Ra, as the true pharaoh. Everyone else is a thief. Okay, and they use the King George straw man, like make it seem like the people are right and all kings are wrong. You know, a lot of kings, it's a play on words for Khan because of G. G is a play on words for key, the earth deity. They're worldly scum. If they're divinely appointed through martial arts, they're valid. All the royal families that are on TV and so they're invalid. Every quote unquote other royal member on the planet is invalid except for me and my father because he's the blameless one. I'm the blameless one, and I've emerged in the true spirit of righteousness to face adversity and persevered through sabotage and all kinds of ridiculous activity like fuming, covert drugging, and blinding and causing me eye problems and so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm almost out of time. I have a lot of pictures to put. Let me just wrap this up. Fucking, it's annoying when I get here and I have still stuff to talk about. Okay, culture clash, sexual deviance. Deviating from what the eugenic rape called fucking order. Okay, that's what they're mad about. Okay, so culture shock, electroshock therapy. What do you think is causing this thing? How do you think they're connected? So number one, you have to desire love. Okay, truly desire true love. Two, you have to actually want what is best for the person that you claim to love. Three, you have to recognize that that is the moral path to God, which is obeying the martial art order. Four, who you listen to and obey is key. And five, do not accept the murk of the beast, okay, which is letting them mark you or label you in one of their cultures that's allowed to exist, which is corporate sponsored. Corpus means body, like corpse, okay, corpus, core pirate, and so on and so forth. Don't accept the mark of Mercury, Apollo, his face is Vulcan, all the Greco-Roman deities. Pan means all those goat fucking worshipping dogs, all those chaos and Anarchy set pieces of shit. All right. So again, Nero and the horse scale, the story of him losing the chariot race. Why is it a chariot? The horses are doing all the work. He's pretending to be important. He even loses the race, and he says, crown him the victor. I have to make a part two. Fuck this shit. It's annoying as hell.